Hey, what's good, everyone? I made a couple of videos before that I haven't posted yet, but this is kind of part 2 of the story that I was telling prior to me getting to the place where I'm at. And the subject is just my passion with radio and how I got to be involved with BroncoiRadio.com. And it's not a really great story in terms of a lot of exceptional experiences, but for me it is. And I'm extremely grateful for my opportunities. So I'm gonna try to make this really short and quick, but I talk a lot, so who knows how that's gonna happen. So this is what happened. I enrolled with Fayetteville State University January of this, or the beginning of this past semester. And before I took one class, I went straight to the telecom building because I knew that I was going to be a mass comm major. I knew that I wanted to work in radio. I didn't know that Fayetteville State does not have a radio program. I knew that they had a radio station, and at that time I thought that 91.9 and Bronco Radio was the same entity. I didn't know it was two different entities. One is a commercial and one is web-based. So when I walk into the building, I didn't know who to speak to. I didn't know who was who. I just walked in a direction and I just kind of followed students wherever they walked. And the first door that I saw was, at that time, it was Professor Brandy Berry, who is a professor, of course, at Fayetteville State. And she was speaking to some students about lenses and equipment and things like that. I'm like, okay, this is maybe somebody I need to speak with about my aspirations and what I want to do in terms of this being a lifestyle and being a living for me. And when I told her that I wasn't a student yet, or I haven't enrolled in any classes yet, I just got accepted. She sat down with me for like 40 to 45 minutes and just explained everything to me. Like, man, this is what we offer. This is what we're about. And she was so enthusiastic and so energetic and passionate about what she did and what she had going on and what the programs had to offer. I knew that this was the place I needed to be at. I knew it. I knew from the start. And I just loved how she presented the information. Now, she works on the TV side of things, and so she was telling me about, at that time, she had like weekend projects going on, and students would come in and they would do some production and some filming or whatever. And again, I'm not even a student yet. And she's like, if she has an opening on one of her crews, she'll give me she took my information and said, I'll give you a call and you can come and work with us. You know, hands down, like, she didn't know me from nothing, but she offered the opportunity, and I was so grateful for that. And that's all I needed. She didn't call me. She didn't have to. I just needed to know that I have the opportunity. And I'm the type of person, if you open the door that much, I'm gonna try to charge right through it, you know. And at the end of our conversation, I told her that what I'm really interested in outside of TV is radio. That's my passion. And she's like, you know what? I have the person you need to speak to. You need to speak to Ray Thomas. He's radio everything. He understands the business, and he runs BroncoiRadio.com. He built it from the ground up. I believe BroncoiRadio.com was started in October of 2010, if I'm not mistaken. It was 2009 or 2010, so it's still fairly new in terms of just the years that it's been around, but he's been there since the beginning, helping to establish and build this brand up. So, again, she didn't know me from nothing from that day. And she just had just a 40-minute conversation. She walked me from her office to the studio that at the time he was running his show. And she introduced me to this dude, walked me over to the studio. Like, to this day, I still haven't seen that happen yet. I'm not saying that she wouldn't do for any other student, but I know that she did it for me. And so the on-air light was off. She asked, you know, can we come in? And he waved. Ray Thomas waved us in. Now, anybody that's dealt with Ray Thomas, especially during the show, knows that he doesn't like being bothered. And now that I'm behind the mic, I understand, because there's a lot of preparation. And just because you're not speaking over the mic, it doesn't mean that your job stops. You have to. What we do, we're posting on Facebook. We're posting, you know, not YouTube videos, but we're getting our next lineup together. And for him, he's getting his music stuff in line. It's just a lot going on. So he waved us in. And he is kind of looking at me crazy, like, okay, you know, why y'all here? And so I spoke up before she could, Professor Berry could. It's like, hey, my name is Amarish Hawkins, and I want to learn everything that you know, and I just want to glean from you. And I felt that being humble was the best route, because there's no resume that I had prior to that that would have qualified me to, I feel, to be in a position to work in radio. There's nothing that I could have said that said, hey, I can be a guy here. You know, it wasn't about that. It was, since I trusted Professor Berry and her opinion just based on her, just our conversation that we had. And if she says that this is the dude, then this is the dude. And when I met dude, you know, he shook my hand, asked me my name. And when I told him that, and he was sincere, he was like, well, I'm not the one you need to speak to. You need to speak to Charnel Harris. At that time, she was a student, but she was a program director, and she was in charge of, you know, the stuff that he was the advisor. She was in charge with the day-to-day activities. And then he asked me my name again. When I told him, you know, he had a little joke, said, oh, I thought your name was I'm a Rich, you know, and, you know, stuff like that. But he left a little leeway. He didn't shoot me down immediately, you know, and I've seen him work. Now that I've seen him work behind the scenes, and I see other students do the same thing that I did and going to him directly, I have never seen him turn anybody down that has wanted to walk to work with BroncOutRadio.com. Never seen it. He'll give you suggestions, like maybe if you're not ready to be behind a mic, he'll say, hey, you need to work on this, that, and the third. But he's never said no to anyone. And I didn't know that he would never say no. I'm not saying that he won't. I didn't know he was like that. So at that time, when he left a little leeway for me to come back, and I just need to speak to Charnel, oh yeah, I ran with it. So I emailed Charnel. She never hit me back. But then BroncOutRadio.com had some auditions. And I went to the audition. I tried out. At that time, I met, for the first time, Miss Kiana Grinke. Shout out to you. I met a couple of other people first time that I didn't know that eventually they were going to be part of the radio station. I tried out. As I was walking out the building, I see Mr. Thomas again, and he asked me how did I do in the audition. And I told him that I felt great about it. And it's not because I did the audition so well. I felt like my dream was finally coming true just being behind. I don't know if y'all ever been in a position where you're passionate, but I got chills. I was in the production room and behind the mic, just doing little dumb things. It wasn't a show. I was in the production room, y'all, and I felt goosebumps on my arm because I felt like this was it. There was nothing gonna stop me. So, all right. So next day, I didn't hear anything from Charnel. 2, 3, 4, 5 days later, and I emailed her, and she never said no or yes to me. But I found out eventually that I wasn't chosen through the auditions. Because that Saturday, the people that were chosen, they had like a whole Saturday to understand the board and things like that. So I didn't find that out. Even though I wasn't chosen, I kind of figured I wasn't chosen. I still we had meetings every Tuesday. And I felt, well, if I can't work behind the mic, then I'm just going to work wherever they have an opening. It didn't matter to me. I just wanted to be in the area. And so Tuesdays is when we had our meetings, and I went to a Tuesday meeting. And I don't know if they didn't know that I wasn't picked in the audition. I wasn't going to say nothing if they weren't going to say nothing. But I was there, and she gave me I forgot, a reading to do a promo. And I read my promo and, you know, did that. And nobody said anything whether I sound good. Like, that wasn't even the issue. It was just a matter. To this day, I still don't even know the full reason why we were doing. I know why we did it, but for me in particular, because I was never told, you know, you'll be great for the job or bad. Like, that wasn't it. And if anybody knows Ray Thomas, that's not his style neither. He doesn't really do a whole lot of, he don't pump anybody up. So, Kiana was chosen though. Kiana, and there was 2 other young ladies that were chosen, and one of the young ladies, I can't remember her name, but she ended up doing I Inspire throughout the school year, 8 to 10 in the morning. And then there was a 3rd young lady who I don't remember seeing after that meeting, as a matter of fact. So Kiana went on, and Kiana's kind of like me. She runs. You give her an opening, and she goes for it. I think she's a biology major, and she has a passion for radio. So she ends up filling in for iMix radio show, and I believe for the summer that comes on from 6 to 9 or 6 to 8 p.m. every day, Monday through Friday. So she's already in there. She's doing her thing. For me, I'm not radio yet, but I'm working behind the scenes. I'm going to intramural games. I'm going to the basketball games. I'm setting up equipment, and I'm happy with that. And I would have been happy with that. Ray, in a meeting, Ray Thomas said, even though you're not in a show, you need to work on your craft, and the production studio is open because now you're a part of this organization, this group. And that's all I need to hear. I was happy not having a show. I was happy just to be in a production room. The production room was my stage. And so I got in throughout the school year. Every time I had an hour and a half, even 30 minutes, I would go in the production room, turn the mic on, and just speak over the mic so I can get used to hearing myself over the thing. Because I still kind of have a problem with listening to myself. And I just kept going at it. And then eventually Mr. Thomas came to me and said that you need to get on the show somewhere. And once he said that, I was good. Wherever you need me is what I want to do. Now, I did have a couple of problems. One is that everybody knows my schedule and my timing is pretty difficult. Family, this, that, and the third. And then I'm not the biggest music guy because I don't listen to every kind of music. So I didn't know whether I was going to fit in with BroncRadio.com for the most part. I felt that maybe I can work behind the scenes and just make things happen from there. But being on air may not be my best bet. And then Charnel came to me one day and was like, look, I want you to be on the show called I Think. And once she told me what I Think was about, that was it. It was right up my alley. It was everything that I'm used to in terms of dealing with social commentary, politics, current events. It's stuff that I do anyway. It's stuff that I pay attention to. So that point forward, I did my first show with Paul Murray. It was just him and I at the time. And I think I ran the board for the first, like, everything was just like, bow, 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 bow. And with Bronc Radio, because we don't have a radio program or curriculum, we have to learn on the fly like that. And you have to pick up or you just get left behind. And so I thank God that Ray Thomas had enough confidence in me because I messed up, y'all. I messed up a lot. And I still mess up, you know what I mean? But I embrace my mistakes because I'm eager to correct them. That's one thing that I'm always working on my craft. I'm always practicing. I'm always thinking of ideas of how to improve myself and improve the show, and even how can I help improve those around me. I'm not in a position to correct anyone, I don't think, but if I feel like something sounds better or it can go in a different direction, I have no problems with, putting that thing out there. So that's my journey to BroncoRadio.com. I've been hearing gospel challenges in terms of people, challenging. I challenge my fellow members of BroncoRadio.com to record themselves and their journeys of how they came to be a part of the station. So I'm going to challenge Kiana. I'm going to challenge Khadijah. I'm going to challenge Cynthia Arroyo. And I'm going to stop there because the other cats, they don't be on Facebook like that. So I'm going to challenge y'all three to do your videos and your journey to BroncoRadio.com. Peace.